All right, guys, Automated Garage back today. We are working on an 04 FT5060. We're underneath an 04 FT5060. And I can't really show you what it was doing because it won't start now. Nor can I test the fuel pressure because it has 0 on the fuel pressure because the HFCM here is not running at all. Key on, it's totally quit now. So we had done a bunch of other front end work on this truck. Got rid of some knocks and some pops it had in the suspension, stuff like that. We had an IPR that was dirty and malfunctioning at times. Replaced that. We addressed some brake issues. Anyways, I was driving the truck after all of that, and it was cutting off randomly. And then I started noticing I had injector contribution code. It had a miss to it. Hooked it up, and while I was diagnosing that, it progressively got worse and worse and worse. Looked at the fuel level. We were right there above a quarter tank, but I was parked on this little bit of an incline right here in front of the shop. So I'm assuming it was sucking air because the fuel bowl is dry up there up top now. So the HFCM is not running now, and my best assumption, we're going to find out here when we take it apart, is the pickup has been broke off. It's broken into a bunch of tiny little pieces. We probably at some point either sucked a piece up in the supply and stopped it up all the way, or trash made it up here to the HFCM and ruined it. One of the two. We're going to find out, but we got a new Motorcraft HFCM coming. We got a new pickup foot coming from O'Reilly's, and we're going to get that tank dropped, see how much trash is in it, get the pickup repaired, and put a new HFCM on it, and then we can go back to diagnose and see if we actually really do have a contribution code issue with cylinder 1 on the injector, or was it throwing that because of low fuel pressure, starting to cause the miss before it got so bad that it wasn't going to run and was actually starving for fuel. And we're also going to hope that there's not a set of injectors that are ruining this truck due to low fuel pressure. Truck was running fine until it all of a sudden started doing that. Of course, I was a couple miles from home, and I got it back here, and then I went to diagnose, and like I said, that's when we figured this out. So I'm going to get busy getting this HFCM off, and we'll drop the tank, and we'll see what we find. All right, you have a 3/8 and a 5/16 fuel line on the front end of the pump here. You got to release your little retainer clips here that go on your fuel line. Put your release in, and the best method I can explain to this is push the fuel line towards the back of the truck, work the release in, and then kind of twist it a little bit, and then wiggle and pull. And get diesel in your face too, because that's always fun. All right, got those off. All right, on the back side, you have these little, there's a blue on the bottom, white on the top, little push button, kind of the same method. Push it towards the front, push the release, and slide the line back. And it would be nice if they'd have done that front and back, I think. This top one is always oriented where it's hard to push it. Push it forward and get it off, just like that. So now we got all that. So now you got 3 plugs. Depending on if your pump has the newer updated harness or not, you'll have either a 2-plug or 3-plug. Just pay attention to your plugs. And if you put the new style pump on here, the plug that's missing, don't worry about it. You won't have any light come on or nothing. But just pay attention to where your plugs are at, so you're not trying to force the wrong one back in the wrong place when you put the new HFCM on. That one's missing the tab. All right, so now that's all free. Now you got 3 10mm on the outside of the frame rail to undo to get that off. All right, I don't know why I said 10mm, they're 13mm a minute ago. Oh, I said that a minute ago. Keep these nuts, don't toss them because you'll need them with a new HFCM that does not come with nuts. Now that we've got that unbolted, you can just reach around here on the other side and try not to take a diesel bath. Don't tilt it because it's full of diesel fuel. All right, good practice that I always do is always keep these caps, and I should have broke it loose on the trunk because it's gonna be fun breaking it loose here. I'll have to go stick it in the vise. But anyways, keep this cap. It will fit your oil filter housing up at the top. So if you ever break that cap, or if you work on 6.0s also, and somebody comes in with the wrong cap, and you're not building low pressure oil, you got a cap to throw on there with a new oil filter that is the right height for your oil filter housing up top. So keep that cap. All right, since I have a pretty good feeling this tank is gonna have a lot of pieces of plastic in it, we're gonna go on and pump the fuel out so we can drop it all the way and do a good clean out on this tank. It's just a little cheap pump setup from O'Reilly's that I have with a M12 battery adapter. You can pump it into your tanks then, and I have a filter in it also so that it's not gonna pump any of the trash that's in that tank into these cans, so that then we can pump it back into the truck when we're done, because we all know how pouring diesel goes. You usually end up wearing some of it, so I usually pump it back in the tank when I'm done with it. So once this is done pumping out, we'll take our 7mm out of our fill neck here. We'll raise the truck back up. We'll get our filler hose loose, and then we can undo our brackets, unplug the sending unit on the top, and undo those 2 fuel lines and get the tank always sitting down here and see what we got in it. All right, we got our filler neck off. So now we're gonna pull both of the bolts out of our straps that hold the tank on. Since this doesn't have any fuel in it now, it's not going to have a lot of weight on it, so we can let it kind of dangle and get our hoses and our plug undone and then drop this down on the floor. We did get, I think it was roughly about 15 gallons out of it. So it definitely should not have run out of fuel with even having the pickup broke off in it. So something must have stopped it up, or the pump just quit working. We're going to figure it out either way. So let me get this tank dropped. All right, so you got your electrical connection right here. Push the tab and release it. It looks like this is a newer sending unit. Those are not factory colors there. Same thing is up on the pump on the back side. You got a white and a blue. Just depress the little button, push forward. Well, push forward, depress the button and pull, and they'll release. And then we'll have this thing here in the floor in just a second. That is definitely a newer looking sending unit. So I don't know what we're gonna find in here. So we have an intact pickup, so it must have been nothing but the fuel pump. That's fine. We verified, now we know. I guess we can test the sending unit while we got it out. Let's make sure that it's actually reading right. This is pretty new. Now we make sure there's no trash in the tank. See, somebody else had done this before, and there's still pieces of plastic in here. I know y'all can see that where it's in the diesel fuel, but there's some other pieces back there too. There's some smaller pieces here. So when you find a broke off sending unit or pickup, you need to clean the tank out. Don't leave the plastic in here, because it's just a screen on the bottom here. So what can happen is it can all get sucked up on the screen, and those little tiny pieces can actually make it through the screen also, and start stopping up fuel lines or make it to the HFCM. So we're gonna go on, this wasn't a waste of time. We're gonna go on and clean this out, get the chunks out of there, and we'll know for sure that the tank is clean. All right, so here's the chunks I got out just with my hand all those black chunks there. So what I usually do is go wash the tank out since we had it all pumped out, and then I kind of wipe it around with a paper towel, get it all to settle to one end, and then wipe anything else out residual. But I'll fill it up a time or two, turn it upside down and shake it around and clean it all out. So now I take my Milwaukee blower and I stick it in this hole on low, and I just let it blow and air dry this so we don't have any water in here. And then we're ready to go back together. But this is the key. If the pickup is broke, clean all the plastic out. Don't leave plastic in the tank. I'm not saying this is for sure what ruined the HFCM. Maybe it was just time and it was the original one with 300-something thousand miles on it. I doubt that. But how long did it run around with the old pickup broke off before somebody replaced that sending unit? Because you know it probably happened. But just do the job right and not have to worry about it again. All right, our tank is clean, as you can see. We verified our sending unit. I'll show you all a quick clip of that. We also blew our sending unit out both directions to make sure we didn't have any trash in here. So the only thing I have left to do before we put this together and reinstall it is I'm going to blow the fuel lines out both ways, from the HFCM back and from the tank to the HFCM, and make sure we have no resistance, no trash, nothing like that in it, so that we know we're good to go on that. All right, tank is up, all bolted on. That's ready to go. We blew the lines out like I said we were going to do. Made sure there's no restriction in the lines. So now we're going to put our new HFCM on up here and get it all hooked up, and we'll be ready to fire this thing back up. New HFCM, it does come with a new filter in it, so don't worry, it's in there. Just as simple as that. We're going to put them nuts right back there on it, but we're going to put his nuts on there.
Nuts.
And then we're going to pop our connections on, plug in the electrical connectors, which this only has 2 connections on it, as I mentioned. Newer style only has 2, or updated, whatever you want to call it. It will be just fine. It's a 13 and it's on the roll cart right there. 13. Hold what you got for a second.
Hold what you got. Just a
It makes it just a touch easier.
I bet it does.
But I can wiggle it.
Just a little bit.
Go ahead, call me Brian.
Just leave it.
Do it, I dare you.
Just leave it where you found it. Just leave it where you found it.
Just like that. That's all I got to say about that. We're going to stick a zip tie on that one so it stays right up there.
Stick a zipper tie.
And everything is locked in.
You want black ones for the blend in?
Sure.
Unrecognizable.
All right. We're just chilling out while this thing's pumping its ass off. And then we're going to fire this up. Pump is running. We turned the key on for just a second, heard the pump run. So we'll get this can in and we'll start priming everything up while we pump the other 2 back in. And then I bet she'll be ready to go. All right, we got 6 gallons in.
6 gallons.
We have primed the pump a couple times. We got our fuel pressure tester hooked up. Let me turn the key on here. Look at there, 62 pounds. Still got a little bit of air in the system. I say we go on and see if she fires up. Which I'm sure there's air all in the fuel rails in the head.
Oh shit, that's
Man, look at there. Hey, purrs like a kitten. Just let her sit here and idle. Get all this air out. All right, guys, hope y'all enjoyed the video on replacing this HFCM, dropping the tank, cleaning out all the junk that somebody else did not previously do, and getting this truck back up on the road. That HFCM is one of those things you need to watch it. It lasts 100 to 150,000 miles typically is what I find with them. They're great pumps. They supply plenty of pressure for putting in some bigger injectors even, but they just don't last long term over about 100 to 150,000 miles. So it's not too bad of a job to do. If you start hearing your pump making noise, keep an eye on your fuel pressure, and if it's not doing what it needs to be doing, replace that HFCM. If your pickup breaks off, drop the tank, clean it completely, get all that trash out so that you don't prematurely wear that HFCM also. So this is Automatic Garage signing out. Y'all check us out at Facebook, Instagram, and Rumble. Check us out at automaticgarage.com. We got some merch on there. If this channel has helped save you some money, helped you work on your truck, or you just enjoy supporting content like this, consider visiting our Patreon here and becoming a member of that. We do a monthly giveaway, and we also have some exclusive content on there also. We appreciate y'all watching. This is Automatic Garage signing out. We'll holler at y'all later.